Howdy, hi. Today's Do Your Job Sports College Football Week 9 Picks and Predictions Part 2. Let's get into the video. All right, nothing to recap since we did that in the first video. We're going to right on to the 8 picks I got for you here. First game, Middle Tennessee at Jacksonville State. I am taking Jacksonville State minus 21 and the over of 63.5. This game is on Wednesday night. We are blessed with two of the worst defenses in the entire country in this game. Jacksonville State coming off of a 41-point win. Middle Tennessee has not scored over 21 points the entire season. I don't know how you go 7 games without scoring more than 21 points once. That is, you would think it would be impossible. Like, you would just luck your way into 3 touchdowns and a field goal one time, just once. But no, they haven't done it the entire season. So I think they're in for a rude awakening here against Jacksonville State offense. Now, this Jacksonville State offense, miles above Middle Tennessee. Jacksonville State ranked 36 and the offensive around the country, averaging 456 yards a game, compared to Middle Tennessee, who is ranked 168th, averaging just 357 yards per game. Both of these defenses, horrible. I am talking bottom tier in college football. They are ranked 249th and 218th, giving up 465 and 430 yards per game. Middle Tennessee has given up 45 plus points 4 times this season. That is more times than not this year they have given up more than 45 points in a single game. That is atrocious. And on top of that, 2 of those weren't even to Power 4 schools. How are you giving up 45 points to just ho-hum Billy Schmilly sitting in the corner of the classroom? That's kind of impressive. Jacksonville State, I think they could score 50 points tonight. I'm going to keep it a buck. So that's why I'm taking them minus 21. Also taking the over of 63.5, just considering how bad both of these defenses are. Even with Middle Tennessee struggling to score, I think they should be able to get more than 21 tonight. And if they don't, Jacksonville State probably wins by 50. So give me Jacksonville State minus 21 and the over of 63.5. Next one we got, it is Syracuse and Pitt. This is a Thursday night matchup. Pittsburgh, for some reason, are ranked 19th in the country. Really don't know why, but we're just going to roll with it. I think it's just because they're in a good conference and they're undefeated, but that's really it, because they haven't beaten anybody this entire year. Pitt haven't been challenged in a single game. Their best win is a 1-point win at home against Cincinnati. And beating Cincinnati is nothing to really write home about, especially by 1 point in your own stadium. That being said, Syracuse hasn't really played anyone either. Their best win is a 3-point win at UNLV, which at the time, I think UNLV was ranked. So big win then, but looking back on it now, doesn't really mean much. Quite difficult to pick a side here. These teams are very similar. Offensively, they are ranked 13th and 9th, so can't really discriminate very much there. Then on defenses, they're ranked 123rd and 136th, giving up 367 and 372 yards a game. There really is no angle in this game. You could argue aside for Syracuse how they have better quarterback play with Kyle McCord, but I'm going to take Pitt at home minus 6. There's no real lean here. I'm just taking Pittsburgh. All right, that's it for that game. On to the next one. Next one, it is Tulane and North Texas. 2 of my favorite basketball schools to bet on, funny enough. I'm taking the over 65.5. We have one of the best offenses in the country in North Texas, while also having one of the worst defenses in the country to pair along with it. North Texas offense ranked 3rd in the country, averaging 535 yards a game. Tulane still has a good offense, ranked 65th, averaging 430 yards a game. The problem for North Texas lies in the fact that the over is 65.5. They have the 3rd best offense in the country, and they're still 8-point dogs at home. That is because their defense is atrocious. I mean, they couldn't stop a nursing home full of senior citizens running the ball down the field. They are ranked 244th in the country, giving up 456 yards per game. Tulane ranked 67th, only giving up 333, but that's slightly inaccurate because week 1 they played Southeast Louisiana and they didn't score a single point and they only got 180 yards of offense. So realistically, Tulane's given up like 350, 360 a game. They just have one big outlier game against a shitty ass school. So I like the over here. North Texas passes the ball crazy. They don't really believe in running the football. It's just pass, 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 deep shot, and deep shot. Pair that with the fact they don't have a defense. I think both of these teams should be able to get at least 35 points. I can see both of them scoring over 40. So for that reason, I'm going to take the over 65.5 in this game. Next game, it is Central Michigan at Miami of Ohio. This is one of my favorite bets of the week. I am rocking Central Michigan plus 12 here. This line does not make much sense to me at all. Central Michigan's previous two MAC games, they lost combined, both of them, by 6 points. They lost one by 4 and one by 2. So you're going to tell me they're going to go into Miami, Ohio, and be a 12-point dog? That don't make much sense to me, especially because their offense is better than Miami's. Central Michigan offense averages 70 more yards per game than Miami of Ohio, averaging 416 yards a game. Miami's only getting up 344. Central Michigan has covered this 12 point in every single game this year they play besides two. One where they played Illinois, and the other one was a random game in week 2 where they got absolutely dingled by FIU. I think they lost by like 42 points. So you take away that outlier game against FIU, where I don't know if the whole team had COVID or was hammered because they were down in Florida. I don't know, but they played like ass. So take that out of there. They've covered this number every single time but one against Illinois. I do not think Miami offense can really put up or pull away from the Central Michigan offense. Miami's a team that plays pretty slow. They only beat Ohio at home last week by 10. I think Ohio and Central Michigan are very similar. Central Michigan's keeping these games close in the previous weeks against MAC teams. So I'm going to take Central Michigan plus the points. I think they have a shot to win this game outright, but I definitely like the number at plus 12. That is simply way too many points. Next game I'm betting, it is Rice and UConn. I've never in my life bet UConn football. I only bet them in basketball. But here I am, taking them in a football game, and I'm laying points. You would think if you're betting UConn, you're betting like plus 42 against Alabama, not minus 6.5 versus Rice. But that's the situation I find myself in right now. Mom, if you want to come pick me up and get me, I would appreciate it. Kind of scared. UConn somehow are 4-3 on the year so far, with one of the top offenses around, ranked 62nd in the country, averaging 433 yards a game, compared to Rice, who was 168th, averaging 357. Both these defenses very similar, giving up 350 and 360 yards a game. Most important thing here, UConn 4-1 at home this year. Rice is 0-3 on the road. I think UConn should be able to take this game by more than a touchdown. I could easily see this being a 3-score game, pushing 20 points by the end of it. So I'm going to take the basketball school minus 6.5 at home. Next game, it is Texas Tech and TCU. I'm going to take Texas Tech plus 7. This should be a banger of a matchup. TCU coming off of a win against Utah where they only scored 13 points. They won because their defense only gave up 7 points. Utah down horrible. TCU big win. Texas Tech, I think they won this game outright. Both of these offenses are pretty good this year, ranked 27th and 53rd, averaging 470 and 438 yards a game. TCU does have a massive advantage on defense. Texas Tech, the worst defense in the Big 12, one of the worst defenses in the entire country, ranked 261st, giving up 473 yards a game. TCU defense ranked 80th, giving up only 342. Now, that being said, with how much TCU struggled to score in the Utah game, I get Utah defense compared to Texas Tech defense. That's two completely different leagues. But if you're only going to put up 13 points in an entire game of football, I struggle to believe you're going to come out the next week and suddenly find it in yourself to score 45 plus. And that's what I think is going to take to beat Texas Tech. They score a ton of points. Sure, their defense sucks, but you have to be able to keep up with this Texas Tech offense. I don't think TCU is going to be able to do it. So give me the Red Raiders plus 7 on the road at TCU. Next game we're rocking, it is Miami minus 21 against Florida State, and we're also taking the over of 54.5. We have been fading Florida State the entire season, and we ain't going to stop right now. They suck. Miami has one of, if not, no, they have the best offense in the country, I think. This game should be a blowout. Yes, they do. Miami offense ranked numero uno in the country, averaging damn near 600 yards a game, which is absurd compared to FSU, who's ranked 234th, averaging 293. I mean, they're basically doubling the amount of yards that FSU averages in a single game. That is ridiculous. Miami, also a very solid defensive team, giving up just 329 yards a game compared to Florida State, who was ranked 153rd defensively, giving up 382. Miami defense, however, has given up more than 30 points in 3 straight games. So just in case the Miami defense doesn't feel like playing football today, that is why I'm rocking the over of 54.5. I feel like that's a pretty low over considering Miami's laying 21 points. Normally when you see these big lines, the over is set at like 63, 64, because Miami's going to score points. Miami's putting up at least 35 themselves. Like Cam Ward is not going to be stopped by this Florida State defense. And if they do show up and they play football and they keep Florida State to 7 points or 10 points, the minus 21 hits easy as heck. So I'm taking the over. I'm taking Miami and the points. Hopefully they both hit and Miami wins like 74-2. Final game, a weird game. 2 teams who are under 1-6. Utah State heads into Wyoming. This is my favorite bet of the day. Utah State plus 110 on the money line. I don't understand how Utah State in a dog in this game at all. Wyoming, one of the worst offenses in the country, and Utah State just throws the ball down the field literally every play. Every play is like a 20-yard cut route to the center of the field. It makes no sense. Utah State offense ranked 20th, averaging 476 yards a game. You would think doing that, you would not be 1-6, but what am I? I don't know. Shit. They're going up against Wyoming, whose offense is ranked 238th, averaging just 295 yards a game. Utah State averages almost 200 yards more than Wyoming does a game, and you're going to tell me they're plus 110 on the money line? Ain't no way. Both of these defenses also horrible. Utah State a little bit more horrible than Wyoming. They're ranked 261st, 215th. They're giving up 514 and 420 yards a game. Even with how horrible Utah State's defense is, I don't think it matters. They're averaging 200 yards more a game than Wyoming on offense. Wyoming's not putting up 300 yards a game on offense. That is pitiful. I'm going to roll Utah State. They're averaging 44 points a game. Wyoming's only averaging 30. And you're giving me them plus 110 on the money line. Yes, please. Go to the bank. Take out whatever you got in the account. Empty the couch cushions. Sell the children. It doesn't matter. Utah State, you can buy them back next week. Plus 110 money line. Get her done. All right, that's going to do it for me and this video. I appreciate y'all tuning in and watching, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.